Good morning, my little world. Oops. All monks need to just have a little pause. Right, this is just to remind ourselves. This is it. This is what it's all about. Christ came not to abolish the law, the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, but to fulfill the law, and in the 2 commandments. This is the sort of older language way of saying them. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Amen. And Christ did not come to abolish the law, the Torah. He came to fulfill it, and to fulfill it in love. And the love, there it is, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. Anyone and everyone can understand that. And with the love of God through Christ within you, then at least one is on the right path. Amen. So, God is the boss. It's so important to recognize that before God we are nothing. Human beings, yes. Also, of course, we are the pinnacle of God's creation and have come to fulfill our potential as human beings, but hopefully as Christians. And no one should judge anyone else. Saul of Tarsus, St. Paul, is absolutely the classic example of that, as someone who was he was a Jew, persecuting the new Christians, and then bang, on the road to Damascus, God blinded him, and within 3 days he had seen the light of Christ and was transformed. So apart from anything else, that matter makes it utterly clear to me that there should never be the death penalty. It is only for God to decide to take another human life, as it were. Not for us human beings or institutions of man and so on. You simply don't know. The worst, well, actually, most of the worst criminals are heads of state, aren't they? Oh dear. Put that another way. Many heads of state around the world are not necessarily the best of people. Shall we put it like that? That's rather less open to question. So, God is the boss. And then, from that flows definitely the second commandment, love your neighbours yourself. Well, you've got to love yourself. I've been focusing a little bit at present on these are not my Carthusian monks. The pivotal date is 1084, the year 1084, founded by Saint Bruno à la Grande Chartreuse, dans les montagnes et les forêts au sud-est de la France, so in the southeast of France, in the mountains and the forests there. He went originally, and now there's a beautiful monastery there. There's, I believe, something in the order of 30, and it's an enclosed order. And essentially their life is utterly focused on contemplative prayer. Well, not everyone, or in fact, there are only 374 or something throughout the whole world. I think in 19... they call them chapter houses, I think, for men, and I think it was 6. There's nuns, sisters as well. That's throughout the whole world. Well, clearly the whole world can't live like that. I mean, it just doesn't work. But to know that those human beings are there with their lives focused absolutely on God. Coming back from down south, I met this chap, I've mentioned it in one of my films. Very nice chap, I think Brixton, London, council worker, and taking early retirement, and a bit of a hippie-looking type. Acknowledging, there's a greater being, perhaps, wonders of the earth and all of this, but absolutely denying Christ, saying there's no evidence for Christ. And he actually mentioned this chap Josephus, and I'm glad to say I knew enough to say, oi, I disagree, and I looked Josephus up. Josephus was a sort of historian, amongst other things, just after Christ, so, I don't know, 50 AD to 120 or something. And he directly refers to Christ. So I could refute him directly through his own, he knew of Josephus. There's not everyone who knows of Josephus, Anyway, so God is the boss. God sent Christ into this, his world, God's world. What was there before the Big Bang? So 10 to the minus 42 seconds, that almost infinitesimally small moment when the universe started. Well, what was there before that? God. And then the other one is listening to a lecture from the Royal Institute in London, the Scientific Institute. 10 to the power of 100 noughts years. The whole universe, all the energy, the entropy, the matter, everything is going to just collapse into nothing. So there'll be just nothing. No, there won't. There will be God. And all those who've loved God through Christ living into eternity. That is my faith speaking. I don't think we have to worry too much about all of that, Again, Christ is so obviously clear on this. Worry ye not. Today, we have today. Let the woes of yesterday be gone. Let the woes of tomorrow, that haven't happened. Focus on today. Love, that's it. Love is the answer. Love God, love your neighbor as yourself, and live by that love. Amen.